Cool. So I think just to start, I'll give a quick introduction to myself. So I'm Natasha Dawson. I've been at Zopa Bank for about 3 years now. Started, kind of joined, launched the Cash ISA account, and currently working on a new product that we're launching. You heard this first, investments. So that's coming soon. I think when I first kind of signed up to this talk, I was like, what am I going to talk about? And they're like, oh, use something that's relatable, something that's feeling pretty like you're facing right now. And this is definitely what I'm facing right now. So launching a new product, there's a lot of plates, some have dropped, some are still spinning. And so I thought it would be helpful to just kind of give a bit of a like overview of what I'm doing right now and how I kind of deal with the different things that come up. So trying to put a structure in place as well. So I've made a bit of a bet here that we've got enough extroverts in the room that you might do a little bit of participation. So I'm going to set the scene. So imagine you're a product manager. You've just realized you've got a bug. You are speaking to 5 different teams to try and sort the bug out. You have just had a meeting with a senior stakeholder who said, just another thing I've been thinking about. What do you think you feel like your 5-year strategy for X product? Meanwhile, you're also trying to launch another product, so you're busy trying to kind of organize what the engineers are doing on that and work out exactly what the delivery plan looks like. And at that point, you also think, yeah, this is a good idea. We should sign up for a talk. I'll do that. And then it's actually fine. I'll sign up to a few interviews for the grads because that's really important as well. I don't know if any of those sound similar, but if you've had anything like that that's just a fire in every single room of the office, please put your hand up. Go on. Yes, it was a safe bet. Thanks, guys. So I think the first thing I kind of wanted to start with was like, we all know that feeling. For me, I wanted to kind of dig into a bit of an example of what that feeling was for me. And I think it's always helpful to hear, like, particularly on we're just trying our best and kind of seeing where we go with that. The kind of an example of where like I look back and reflect of like a recent time where I look more like the picture here, thanks to AI. And everything's kind of, you're trying your best, but you're still kind of really fighting fires. And that for me was probably around November time. We had a December external deadline that required essentially like a really steep learning curve, but kind of on the job. It was for investments. We had to kind of submit something for the regulator to be able to get the permissions. There was a RFP, which is like a whole procurement, trying to get on a new supplier to be able to offer the investments. And essentially what was happening was, because I was learning on the job, I was just kind of executing. So I was kind of just doing all of those fires, trying to put them out, making sure I just stay on top of it as much as possible. And what I wasn't doing was really thinking about any of those things that I was kind of doing. I was either doing what someone says, you know, you've got to get this to board, but before you go to board, you need to take it through this committee and this committee. And then on the other side, kind of trying to get a kind of proposition and a plan and something that's lot more kind of on the creative strategy side as well. And I was kind of just trying to keep all these plates spinning. But what I was kind of really doing was just executing with like not much kind of thought. I mean, there was thought, but like not like, you know, really like thinking, okay, what am I doing? Which bits are important? Like which bits do I need to do? And where do I kind of prioritize things? And I think what I definitely got from that point was when I was just had all these plates spinning, it was inevitable that certain things just, you know, the timeline was getting shorter and shorter and the things kept piling up. And I think my manager at the time, there was one where I was like, we need to get this to this thing. I'll do it. I'll work this evening and I'll get it sorted. And he just said, no, that's like one thing too much. Like, let's stop, assess and like work out, like we're not doing that thing, so we need to work out what our plan is for not doing that. And I think like that was the pretty big learning curve for me. And I think that was kind of one of the main real like big learnings I've had recently, is to actually, I think, really like step back and think about what you're doing rather than just like fighting every fire, and trying to hope that you're kind of moving in the right direction. So I guess this is kind of the aim. I was like, how do we get a little bit closer to this feeling? Like, I don't think we're ever going to be juggling or spinning 4 plates with 2 hands, but like, this is, I guess, kind of like the aim of where we're trying to kind of get to, which is obviously like kind of difficult in that sense. But so I guess kind of when we get to that point, we kind of think like, okay, what can I do? And I tried to kind of really think back, okay, on that example, if I do a bit of a retro with myself, like how do I get to more of that feeling? And I think the really big thing that I took from that is actually like, are there some times that you can like hit a bit of a stop button? The answer is probably, if you think like, can I just stop everything? That's no, unfortunately not. But hopefully, like, I think one of the kind of key things that I've learned as I've gone is actually, can you create kind of parts either in your week, in your month, in your quarter, that allow you to just like not necessarily spend like a huge amount of time. And I really wouldn't spend ages on this, but just allow yourself to kind of sit back, think about what it is that's going on, because we have such a like short-term bias to things. Like, we're such kind of trying to juggle everything, make sure everything's like going as smoothly as possible, but we don't really kind of necessarily all the time take that moment, take that breath. And I think when I kind of was thinking around like what are the kind of few things to consider, and I think these can become really big questions, so please don't take this as like sit down, spend an entire day working out what to do. But I think there's a few things that like are a good kind of like review bit. I tend to do it like Fridays tend to be my kind of like, okay, if I'm thinking about what I do next week, I have a bit of a like clearer mind. I think there's that, oh, weekend's coming, like I can now like feel a little bit like I can breathe a bit in terms of things, and okay, help myself on Monday when I'm settling in. But that will just depend on what your guys like, how you work and what your cadence is. The kind of main ones, so it's like, I know people say like vision and mission, and those are all like really big things that actually you can spend quite a lot of time thinking about. But I just think in terms of when you've got those moments of like a little bit breathing room where you've given yourself that space, it's almost like, where am I trying to get to? Or like, where do I think the team's trying to get to? And to be honest, like, it depends what levels you are. Like if you've just joined product, like maybe you don't need to start asking yourself what the big like mission and vision is. Like, that's like, be involved in it. And like, but if you're not sure, like ask. That's my main one. Like, understand what it is and kind of go from there. And if it is your responsibility, then maybe like try and have a quick think about what that might actually look like and spend a bit of time. At least if it's just in the medium term, you can kind of help yourself kind of get there. And do I know enough about making a priority call? I think like actually like a lot of the time it's just like, can I not? Like, do I understand what the person's motivated for if they've asked me to do something? Do I could actually like, if I understand what the difficulty is that engineering's trying to describe to me, can I like cut it down a bit? Like, are there ways that we can work around? I just think if you can't try and get to the grips of how to understand it, I mean, don't spend an entire day asking everyone exactly for the details. You don't need that, but you do need a bit of an idea so that you can help yourself make the right decision. And then deeply know your product and customer. I know this is like a classic one, but like you can't, it's hard to make a priority call if you're not, you don't know what is driving your customer or what the problem is. So get the metrics there, try and kind of understand it a bit and go from there. I put this one up, and I think it's just really like my main one really, and there will be different ones for different teams and what you're focusing on, but like as a really high level solution, try and, if you've got kind of like 30 minutes just to work out exactly what the kind of impact and effort is. And I think really the key one here for me is like, if I don't prioritize this, like what will happen? What do I need to do if I don't prioritize this? And I think if you can ask yourself that for a lot of the big things that feel like big fires on your day-to-day to-do list, you can help yourself kind of prioritize the ones that really kind of truly matter. And in terms of effort, like, are there any lower effort options? I always just try and ask, like, in your head, like, the answer isn't always necessarily to reduce scope, but just try and ask yourself and challenge yourself for that. So yeah, I think the key takeaway that I took on almost reflecting on what I did and what I did badly was just give yourself, like, even if everyone in this room tomorrow gives themselves like 10, 20 minutes to just be like, what's on my to-do list, let's get going, fight the fires. Just actually, what's the kind of like rationale of things? Do I know things enough to make decisions? And hopefully that helps a bit.